Thanks. President Biden made a surprise visit to Ukraine as Russia's war against the country approaches the one-year mark. NBC's Bree Jackson shares Biden's message of support for the Ukrainian people.
President Biden making a surprise trip to Ukraine and meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky in Kyiv as Russia's war against the country nears the one-year mark.
1 year later, Kyiv stands, and Ukraine stands. Democracy stands. The Americans stand with you.
The unprecedented visit was months in the making, with details kept very secure and air raid sirens sounding during the president's stay. The president stopping at the Wall of Remembrance to lay a wreath. Mr. Biden noting how much Ukraine has lost in the war and announcing more aid is on the way.
And air defense systems all defend Ukraine, and that doesn't count the other $500 million we're announcing with you today and tomorrow.
As the violence rages on, White House officials say they've determined Russia has committed war crimes.
We believe that this is a systematic, deliberate effort by the Kremlin.
The U.S. also warns that China may be considering providing lethal aid to Russia.
We make clear to the Chinese that there will be consequences should they make that unfortunate decision.
The Biden administration sending a strong message to other countries.
Remind us that freedom is priceless. It's worth fighting for as long as it takes, and that's how long we're going to be with you, Mr. President, for as long as it takes.
And pledging unwavering support for Ukraine. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
And after their joint news conference, Presidents Biden and Zelensky walked toward St. Michael's Square, where Zelensky showed Biden a special award. Biden's name is inscribed on a plaque in the Alley of Courage that's located in the Constitution Square of Kyiv. The area will include more names of political figures and officials of the partner nations who've supported Ukraine since the Russian invasion.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, President Joe Biden's surprise visit to Ukraine is sparking some anger and embarrassment among many in Russia. Now, we should tell you that the Kremlin has not yet publicly commented on Biden's visit, but the former Russian president did dismiss the trip, accusing the U.S. of warmongering support for Ukraine. Others calling the visit of a U.S. president another symbol of a faltering campaign. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin is expected to speak in a conference later today in a national address. Putin is expected to tout the supposed achievements of what he calls a special military operation. He's also expected to launch a renewed offensive in Ukraine in the coming weeks.
Well, the message that they've been saying over and over again, and which was reiterated again today, is that they are deeply appreciative and grateful for the support, but that they desperately need long-range artillery, fighter jets, heavier weaponry in order to finish off this war. There has been a real concern that the fighting in Bakhmut, in the east of Ukraine particularly, has not been going very well, with Russia just willing to sacrifice the lives of thousands and thousands of its soldiers and young men who are fighting there, and Ukraine really struggling to maintain the momentum that they had gained from various successful counteroffensives that they had towards the end of last year. It was an exceptional moment, I will say. We were watching to see President Biden and President Zelensky walk out of this historic church here in central Kyiv. They came in to the main square, St. Michael's Square here. You can see there's a lot of journalists still around. Also, a lot of people have been coming to take photographs. Those are Russian tanks that have been destroyed in battle here. And they came out linked up with two Ukrainian soldiers who were carrying wreaths. And then they walked solemnly behind those two Ukrainian soldiers and went over here to lay the wreaths. And you can see probably, if we look, one of them with the Ukrainian colors, and then the one beyond it with the U.S. flag. President Biden and President Zelensky then stood together. They embraced. President Biden then got into the extremely large motorcade and left. The whole thing happened in the space of 10 minutes, 5 minutes inside the church, 5 minutes outside the church. Air raid sirens began wailing just before they exited the church. So it was somewhat of a tense moment. And you can imagine the level of planning that went into it, as you just alluded to. But the feeling on the ground, I can't stress to you enough. I've been talking to lots of different people from different walks of life, and they say over and over again, this was amazing. This was a wow moment for people. It caused a little chaos in the city because everything was brought to a standstill. Traffic was completely cut off, particularly in these central areas. But there's gratitude for the support and also, I think, a much needed boost of morale to see the president come here. That really delivers a message, not just that we support you, but that you've got this, you can do this, and we will be with you in it till the end.
Leave a comment and share this video with your friends. With daily uploads, there will always be a conversation.